Hey y'all, what's going on? I'm Ted, and this is not my rec room. This is my kitchen in my parents' house. And obviously, parents' house is very sentimental to me. It brings back a lot of feelings. I don't come here often nowadays, especially in the coronavirus era. But when I do, I think back nostalgically to my childhood. And I also think back to, just about some difficult times with money. And I've always kind of worried myself, how could I afford a house like this? Well, with a total money makeover, that's how. Mom's joining today, she's watching me record. So it's probably a little awkward. But I've had a history with money. I want to take you back a little bit. When I went to school in Hawaii, my undergrad, but I went out of state. And I've thought recently about my experience there. I tell my kids this all the time. Like they're always like, "Oh, how was Hawaii? Was it the best thing ever?" And I remember like crying some nights about how expensive it was and how we took out loans to take care of it. And we never really sat at the dinner table and had a talk about the loans. And, it didn't just affect me, my loans, it affected my parents as well. And so it's always weighed on me. And I think, I've always just kind of put it on the back burner. We've never talked about it. And then recently, I think like maybe 2.5 years ago, I got a new car. And so I had more loans than I had student loans. And with the student loans, what happened when I got out of college was, I didn't have a job right away that would help me pay for them. And so they're like, "Oh, well, you can do this income-driven plan where you'll pay $250 a month." Okay, I can afford that. What I didn't realize, and this is crazy because I'm a numbers guy, is the way that debt accumulates in debt is that you don't really pay much off. I think the best phrase I've heard to describe interest is as a penalty. You are paying a penalty fee, so obviously you are being penalized. Now, if you want a concrete number, I owed $27,000 in my own personal student loans by the time I came back. And I paid monthly fees of about $240 every month from 2013 until there was relief in 2020. Not relief really, but like till everyone's interest rates just took a brief pause. And when you do the numbers, that's about 84 months or so. That number multiplied by 240 comes out to approximately $20,000. The amount that I had to show for it was only, and I paid off like even more at sometimes, 21,000. So I paid 20,000 and only paid off 6,000. That's just criminal. And you wonder where the money goes sometimes. Like I do have a decent paying job now. And sometimes it still seems like you don't make the money. So, I did pay off the car loan recently. And I've read some self-help books recently. I read Digital Minimalism over the summer. And I decided, Mom got me this gift, Total Money Makeover. I don't know. I joked about it at the time. I remember it was like, "Oh, yeah, this is like the car salesman book of like how you can save $5." So I joked about it. I took it reluctantly, and but lo and behold, when I picked it up about like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I could not put this thing down. I was so hooked. I was hooked on the ideas, hooked on the concepts. It's almost cult-like in nature because of how you get indoctrinated into the school of thinking about money and how to handle money. And it's weird because we don't really talk about money nowadays, but it's something everyone should really talk about and have a bearing on. If I could have gone to college debt-free, I would have. But, I think the big things is you live, you learn, and you grow. And that's what this book has helped me to do. So far, I've already followed what they call the baby steps. I'm on baby step 2. I already kind of was, but now it's like outlined. So I'd say that's really like the premise of the book is that you had a habit of how you spent money and how you budget money um, prior to being introduced to these concepts. And after having gone through the process and learned the baby steps and the real life stories and just seen what you can do to actually accumulate wealth, that will totally transform how you use money in your life, help you get out of debt, help you save for a retirement fund, help you save for college savings if you have kids. Regardless of your, income, you could be like at an average or even below average income. Or if you are like kind of like me, where you're above average income, but you have debt, which by the way, if you're in that situation, technically you don't own wealth unless you own like an asset, like a house or something. So, but anyways, I will kind of walk you through the baby steps. The first baby step is set up a temporary emergency fund of $1,000 in savings for just, when you absolutely need it. But anything more than that, you can just throw onto the debt, which is baby step 2. Attack, attack, attack. Budget any luxury expenses, put on the debt. Just put it on the debt, knock out the debt. There's no reason to be sitting in debt. And if you are in baby step 2, do everything you can to get out of debt. Work extra hours, sell some things. Right now I'm selling my game collection and it's actually doing me pretty good. But even now with student loans not taking out any interest, it's my only loan. And it's still recommended to pay them regardless if there's interest or not, because they are holding me back from accumulating wealth. Now, here's the situation is maybe you have credit cards, maybe you have student loans, maybe you have car loan. They suggest, pay off the smallest ones first. I personally, that's not how I operate. I don't get discouraged in paying the stuff off. I paid off my car loan first, which was my personal highest loan and highest interest rate. But the idea is every amount that you are putting into minimum payments forever, that will never go away, like that will continue to, just grow over time, you then snowball them into the next debt. So say you were paying $240 on car, $240 on cards, and $500 on student loans, like just hypothetically. You pay off the credit card and then, and you pay your minimums here, and then you snowball that extra into this card, and then, and so on and so forth. And eventually all that money that you were putting into debt every, paycheck or month, you can now snowball into step 3, emergency fund. I'm not there yet. I'm still paying off debt, but I have a plan and I should be covered on my end as far as next year. And that's so exciting, like to be around 30 and like just debt free. Like that's a really good feeling. And, it goes on to talk to you about like how you should invest in retirement, and also you can then, if you have kids, do a college savings fund. You can then also start paying off the mortgage, and then you can start kind of living a little more lavish. And so he goes into great detail through the book. That's kind of like just the abridged version, but I would recommend you read it for yourself, especially if like I didn't convince you. But if you like feel with your money that you're just kind of going down a hole of like debt and that you'll never be able to handle it, this is a strategy. Like this is a real apparatus to help you get your finances like right. And I think that's the beautiful thing. This is not like, a get rich quick scheme. In fact, he pitches it as the opposite. This is a get rich over time, be in it for the long run, but it's proven. The debts are only holding you back. You will pay interest indefinitely. You will accumulate multiple cards and then feel like you never can address any of them because there's so many of them, and then you have all these mouths to feed. But then when you really sit down with your budget and you follow some of the strategies, I don't follow all of them, but I do follow a lot of them, it will just radically transform how you approach finances. So that's what I've been doing recently. I'm excited. I'm happy. It's a good time. Have you experienced and experimented with budgeting, and how's it going for you? And how are you on track for your financial fitness? Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Ted. This was not my rec room, but I will see you there next time. Catch you later. Bye.